live, and I'm so excited about today. You will not believe what a show I have ahead of here for you. I usually start my show on time. I was probably a few seconds late here, and I didn't have my countdown because I was enjoying my guest before you guys got here. So before I introduce him, he had a little intro clip that would do some justice. And so I'm going to play that here before I introduce you to the man himself.
He comes on hard but nice. He's sincere, he is humble, but he is in our house. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage,
Austin, you're here.
Not all here.
Yay! I don't know where my peeps are at. They're usually right standing at the door. They're a little late today. Well, that's okay. We'll be happy when they show up. You know, better late than never, right? But the show goes on.
Yeah, so, network marketers are infamous for being on time, right?
Yeah, but I don't have just network marketers. I have regular people too. So it's all good.
Yeah. There is a big difference between network marketers and regular people.
I know, right? And I think people are trying to figure that one out. So I am so thankful you are here. You have, oh, look, I have one guest. Let us know where you're from. Thanks for being here. You're late, but I'm still happy you're here. This show is just about living, loving, and laughing with Lynn Serrano, and I'm just so great. I'm just so happy to have Austin Zulauf here, he's an epitome of what self-development can and will do for you if you take action. And I'm featuring him being the author of the book down below, but there's a story we'll go in details later about that book. But right now, I'm just so excited for you to be here. So Austin, if you want to just quickly introduce yourself and some of your accolades, I would really appreciate it.
Yeah, sure, Lynn. Well, I appreciate the opportunity to give some value to your audience here for sure. As far as my accolades go, they say yesterday's hits don't win today's ball game. So I'll spend just very minimal time on that, but I'll tell you a little bit more about who I am. So name's Austin Zulauf. I'm out here in Lexington, Kentucky. I grew up on a farm in the middle of nowhere here in Kentucky in a place called Edmonson County, Kentucky. It was such a small town. They called it Embredmonson County, Kentucky, right? And so, which was true. I was related to everyone on both sides of the street, right? And so when I was about 11 years old or so, I was fortunate enough to have my house burned down and we lose everything. That way we could get the heck out of there. And we moved to Bowling Green, Kentucky, and fell in with the wrong group and all that sort of thing. So from 12 to 19, I was just in the streets being stupid. And then 19, I got involved in corporate America with Combined Insurance Company. And I learned the PMA philosophy, the positive mental attitude philosophy, which isn't this Pollyannish theory of just walking around smiling all day so everything will be okay. It's defined as a state of mind that continues to seek, find, and execute ways to win regardless of situation or circumstance. Which is good because life happens, right? It happens to us all, but it's what we do about when it happens. So from there, I was with Combined for about 7 years. There was a corporate restructuring, which meant I was out of a job. Long story short, I wound up in factories because it was about 2008. No one cared how great my resume was. And then I had trained tens of thousands of people how to be successful. And so I went from about 20 grand a month to 20 grand a year, lost everything. I mean, everything. I had my car repossessed, wound up eating at the canned food drive at the Salvation Army. I mean, things were rough there for a couple years. And then one day I was at my mom's house and I was on Facebook and I saw a guy, right? He looked like he was doing something, right? He looked like he was into it. I didn't know him, but I reached out to him and turns out it was the network marketing profession. And it scared me, honestly, when I saw the business model because I felt hope. And I was so used to being down on myself and beating myself up and all that sort of thing that the hope scared me because I thought this could work. And after a lot of self-sabotaging, because I had this weight I put on my own shoulders of I'm not worthy and all this crazy stuff that we tell ourselves, these stories we tell ourselves sometimes are are just crazy. They're insane. But after I was able to overcome that and overcome the self-sabotage after self-sabotage, in network marketing, I've been able to be the #1 earner in 3 separate companies. Been fortunate enough to be a 7-figure a year earner, and we've done everything from paid cash for our dream home to exotic cars, private jets, you name it. But we've been able to help retire over 600 families from their full-time employment as well. And it's been an amazing journey that I'm very grateful for.
Wow, that's just, you guys have no idea. You guys are going to stay tuned. I'm putting Austin in the hot seat, and he's going to have some. First of all, I want to thank you for trusting me enough to be here, not knowing what I'm going to be up to. That takes a lot of courage, man. But you've been through a lot of stuff in your life, so I guess I'm nothing compared to that.
The good thing is, in my profession, in the network marketing profession, we teach people to be emotionally disconnected from the outcome and just focus on the activities, right? So with me, I'm very emotionally disconnected from just about any outcome. I'm just here with no expectation and just to add as much value as possible and to live, love, and laugh with Lynn Serrano. So I'm excited.
Hi, Sandy. Thank you for being here. I think you're going to get a lot out of the show today. I really appreciate you being here. This is going to be a lot of fun. So, just so you guys know, too, this man, you're going to have to follow him on Facebook. He's been so busy lately. He's not really been much on Facebook lately, but he is a very VIP of a company, and he's doing some great, amazing things. But it hasn't always been a great and amazing along the way. You do have, I think who said it to me the other way? I had Diana Hockman on, and she says, the road to success is not straight, So, right. So again, it's just, first of all, I want to thank you, because without you, I would have never met Ray Higdon in New York City when you had him out there. It's a ripple effect, Austin. Sometimes you put things out there and you don't know what effect it has. And so unfortunately, a lot of times we find that we go along life and not be appreciated. We don't tell people what they mean to us. And I've loved you since the day I met you, but you brought people in my life that are, true caring friends. And I can't, anytime I message you, you're like right there, you message me back and stuff. And I really have a lot of gratitude for that. And I know back then you knew I am an introvert, and a lot of people don't think that, but you did see me in action. Like, I usually I'd be back, you know what I mean? Like I just, so I've learned, get out of your own way and do things that make you feel uncomfortable. And, and you preach that all the way to the bank. You absolutely preach that more than I can even express. So you guys that are on here, you might want to ask some questions about some of the stories that are going to come up ahead here. I'm going to just throw a little Snapchat in here real quick. You're pretty smart. What are some things you learned that you wish you learned a lot sooner?
Yeah, so I take it you want me to answer that Snapchat question, is that right? Yes. What are some things that I've learned I wish I had learned a lot sooner? So, to let go of the past, I think that's a very valuable lesson. So many times we look at our bank account. And I remember I had a coaching client. This is a good example. I had a coaching client that, they paid for the coaching package, and within a month they had overdrafted their bank account. Now, I didn't know that they were in a situation where they either, pay their bills or buy, a $10,000 coaching package, but they ended up overdrafting, and they called me and they were very distraught. They were like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I said, see, first of all, you need to slow down, take a deep breath, and quit letting your bank account fool you into thinking that's what you're worth. This is a moment in your story. If your life is a movie, right? We're in the first 10 minutes of it. Even if you're 70 years old, you're in the first 10 minutes of it. You get to determine what the rest of the movie looks like. And so, to answer your question of what I wish I had learned earlier, it's to just let go and enjoy the process, to let go of the baggage, the pain, the past, all the challenges, because bitching, whining, and moaning, that's not going to help. Feeling sorry for yourself, not going to help. And everything is a decision. It's all mental. Happiness, it's a decision. To be a leader, to make the decision that you're going to persevere, to win. These are decisions that you make. And so I guess just letting go of all of the negative and the expectations, because if people hurt you, they don't hurt you. They hurt your expectations of them. So just letting go of all of that, and still having goals, still striving for things, having a target to go after, but kind of letting go of the expectations of people or the things that can hurt you, and just living in the moment and enjoying every single moment, every second that you get, because it is a gift for sure.
Yeah, I totally agree. I'm working on a couple of ebooks, and one of them, I've had a house fire back in 2001, and it's amazing all the different things you happen. You could be like, why me, and this and that, but you don't realize the blessing that when you have those markers in life, those different, things happen in your life. That actually is a blessing, because that makes you relate to other people.
Yeah.
And people don't realize that and say, no, but that happened to me, and blah, blah. But now you have something,
Yeah,
good.
everything that happens for you, not to you. I had two friends. They were really good friends of mine, I thought. And we were in a company together. I gave them a lot of stuff. I edified them. I worked with them. I drove 7 hours up to see one of them, and all this stuff. And even though we were earning income together and it was a great business and all this stuff, I was like breaking even, because I kept on. I mean, I was just, I would give to these guys and just give time, money, energy, everything. And it was a constant, it was a one-way street. Right. And one day I reached out to him and I asked him just because I was taking a self inventory of some of the people that have known me for a couple of years and had a lot of interaction with me. I said, what are some of the things that are good about me and some things that I can improve on? And the response it blew my mind. They actually had like bad things to say, to the degree that they did. And I was hurt for a while, because in my mind, these were close friends. Like the closest of friends. But then I realized, this is great, because I can let go of these people now that I didn't even realize were like just taking and taking and taking, and just continuously taking and filling me with bad, negative energy. And my life has been so much better ever since I did. At the time, though, it really hurt. And I had to figure out, and this is a good point for anyone that's watching and taking notes. If you have a challenge, issue, obstacle, setback, whatever, don't let it get you upset. Think, because that's happening for you, and think, what's good about this? What am I learning from this? What is this making room for? Why is this happening for me, not to me?
Well, Austin, the thing is I, listening to you, I can tell you that what happened is that you had more passion to see. You had a vision for them. They didn't have the vision for themselves. Sometimes, feeding people instead of teaching them how to fish for themselves, and that's what you did. You realized and you learned the hard lesson that as much as you want to help those people, if they don't help themselves first, they're always going to be breastfed babies, and you're just going to go, look who's in the house. Hey,
Kelly,
Kelly.
what
She's
up?
becoming a rock star in her own light, man. I
Oh
love
yeah,
her. I love
absolutely.
her. So, again, it's one of those things where you can't want it for somebody so bad enough, and your passion. And that's one thing I've learned over the years from you, Austin. Sometimes you are so quick with so much of your passion, you don't realize that everybody hasn't caught up to your energy, dude. You're just like full throttle. And I love that, because I've been down the road to journey with you a few times, but I also love that I'm like, dude, I'm not right there. And you respect me telling you, hey, I'm not right there, right? And that's just it. But we all need to know our limits are limitless. I'll just throw that in there a little bit. But you really are an epitome of what. That's right. Z-Man's in the house. Z-Man's in the house. But that's what I mean is you do wear your heart on your sleeve sometimes, and you realize you're human and you bleed like everybody else. And yet I want to thank you for showing your vulnerability, when vulnerability for a dude that's so VIP and so statured, yeah, it's nice to show that you're pretty humble as well.
I had a guy one time that I was at another company's conference, because if I'm invited, if I can, I like to go to different companies' conferences as well. There's always something that you can learn, and I usually sit there and take some good notes. And this gentleman who was earning over $1 million a month at the time, he was doing very well. He said something that really stuck with me. He said, realize that you're not better than anyone, and no one is better than you.
Yeah.
And so, with that, it was said from a very humble place, that you're not better than anyone. That's something that we have to realize. We're all, human. No one's perfect. I can promise you that. But no one's better than you.
Absolutely.
And so no matter who you're running across, I mean, it doesn't matter if I'm talking to the janitor or the CEO. You have to have that same posture, that same attitude, that same servant leadership mentality. And it's all about fun, freedom, and friendship, right? You say live, love, and laugh. The Networking Times magazine that I've got in the background, I was lucky enough to be featured on the cover of. They did an 8-page spread, but it says Austin Zulauf, fun, freedom, and friendship. And that's always been the culture that I wanted to build whenever I was in a company.
Absolutely. I got a question here for you.
Anything.
Which of your personality traits has been the most useful?
I would say creativity. I would say either creativity or empathy. So with me, and some people are going to say, but I'm not creative. Anytime you've ever taken any information and used it in a different way than what you're used to, that's being creative. So everyone is creative. Okay. So that's not something that you need to even worry yourself about. You are creative. But for me, marketing is just another name for being creative. And, I really embrace the creative side of things. I love putting together contests and promos for groups. I love creatively finding ways that, someone and I can mingle and benefit one another and collaborate, but also empathy, because there's a lot of people, that have been in my network that we've never done any business together, but we're really good friends. And there comes a point in time in which either I refer them some business or they refer me some business, or, I'm out of town and, we have dinner together, and, there's lots of different benefits where that, and the reason why I use the word empathy is that way I can actually conversate with them and care what they have to say and be a real friend. Rather than it just being about business and the bottom line. It's important. It is. It's important to actually have a heart and be a decent human.
And there is a lot of benefit to say that, being kind to somebody when you have nothing to gain about it. And then when you're rewarded back from somebody else and you're like, you don't feel like you deserve that appreciation or accolade, but then you realize, wait, so, I'm getting back what I already did. So that's
Yeah.
pretty exciting. And I was going to say your personal trait is that you're very coachable, and you really are proof of the pudding of that you can create and be who you want in an instant. So I really love that, and appreciate that from you. But now I'm going to put you in the seat with this question.
Cool.
It makes me laugh, but you're going to have to listen real close.
So have you ever gotten yourself in a pickle? What kind of pickle would you say you got yourself into? That you learned the most valuable lesson ever.
Okay. So, I've probably gotten myself in enough pickles to own a pickle factory. And so, yeah, one of them that comes to mind, and I mean, I could probably talk for the rest of the day about this because I failed my way to success, right? I've made so many mistakes in my life, but much less in just my career. I made so many mistakes. I've gotten myself in so many pickles. So there was a company that I was the number one earner of. It was the second company I was the number one earner of. I put in over 700 people the first week, 8,700 in the first 90 days. And then after I'd grown a team to nearly 20,000 people, I got a gig where I was doing training for another company. And I've always loved training. I've always loved training and coaching, right? So I fly out, I do this training for this other company, which is similar to the company that I was the number one earner of. And whenever I get back home, I can't log in my back office. I have been terminated. So I got terminated because I didn't read the policies and procedures. I've still never read a policies and procedures ever. But had I actually thought about it, that was probably not a great idea, first of all. But second of all, had I upfront went into that company that I was the number one earner of and explained that, hey, I do training and coaching for other companies. Always have, always will, because one of my passions is to elevate the network marketing profession to the same level that people view doctors and lawyers. And to do that, I have to train and educate and support and uplift and coach the whole profession. Had I been transparent up front, they would have said that's fine. And then I would have had reference. I would have had that in writing maybe, but I didn't. And so they thought that I was cross-recruiting and all this different stuff, which I've never done. I've never cross-recruited at all. And so whenever I did this training, it just backfired in my face. And so now I'm very transparent. Even the company that I'm currently a corporate member of, I let them know, hey, I still do training and coaching for people all over the world in all sorts of different companies. And some might be our competitors, but this is where I'm at. This is my home. I still do training and coaching. So just transparent, being very, very transparent. That's a big one for me.
Yeah. Let me ask you something that's off the cuff here, but I'm going to still ask it.
Sure.
Just curious, being that you were closed out of your back office, did you actually keep a hard copy of your customers? I mean, because, I find a lot of people don't understand that you should always have a backup system so you stay in contact with your people. And this just gives me a avenue to advocate and tell people that, you always need to be prepared for your contacts. You work really hard for your connections, Austin, and for them to be taken away like that, it can happen to anybody, right?
Yeah. Well, whenever I was terminated, I did let them know, hey, listen, I still believe in the company and still believe it's a good company. I can't partake in it anymore. So, whenever I kind of figure out what I'm doing, I'll let you know, but I think you should stay here. I've never been the type to say something is great one day and then the next day if there's a bunch of money offered to me or I get, something happens, I say the company is bad. You believe in it once, it's probably still as good as whenever you said you liked it. You know what I'm saying?
And I'm glad to hear that. Okay. So, I got a comment here. What is the comment? Their business should be kept on paper. Absolutely. That's a great tip there, Kelly. We learn the hard way, don't we? But if we can help all the new people with a little something like that. Okay, so I probably know the answer to this one, maybe not.
What's a movie I can practically quote from start to finish? Oh man, that's a good question. Goodfellas, the Casino. I like gangster movies, so those are probably two that I could, if I could quote the majority of a movie, it'd be Goodfellas or Casino. I like Limitless too. That's a really great movie. So.
What about the
But yeah,
Matrix and stuff?
The
Matrix?
Matrix? Oh man. Oh, I remember the first time I ever saw the movie The Matrix. I remember where I was. I was with my boy Tony. I think I was 15. Yeah, I remember the first time. I love The Matrix, the idea of it. I have a shirt that says The Matrix was a documentary. So it's just so interesting to me that how they mapped across a concept that's in reality to the Matrix, and how that works. Yeah,
I know we could have a whole show on that one.
we could. Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
we might have to do that sometime. But okay, this isn't political, but this is fun.
Sure. If I could write one new law that everyone had to obey, what law would I create? That's a good one. I think it would be something having to do with minding your energy. I don't know how I would word it, but it would be something to the effect of what we're taught when we are growing up. Like if you don't have anything good to say, don't say anything at all. So it would be something that would be progressive towards people maintaining a positive energy.
Hi, Tammy. And that's one thing I try to instill with people on my show is that, we don't realize that energy naturally, you're either attracted to somebody or not. It's just like when you walk in a room, we automatically, look for danger. We look for, comforts and things like that. But we seem to not realize the connection that we all have. And some people, I mean, gosh, I'll never forget. I was on my little scooter and I came in Vegas and I walked in the room and you stopped what you were doing just to like pay attention to me. I don't know because you like the scooter or not or whatever, but no, I'm just kidding.
Well,
It's just and the cool thing is you're paying attention to your conversation, but you just kept like keeping an eye on me. It was just it's just an awesome kind of thing that just happens among people.
Well, what people fail to realize is every action that you take, every thought that you have, every moment that you spend, you're either contributing towards the oneness, contributing towards the universe, the growth, the betterment of yourself, society, the universe, or you're not. And everything that you do is either furthering you towards your goal, furthering you towards your best version of yourself, or it's not. So it's either adding to or it's taking from. So I take very serious inventory of each moment that I spend in my life and what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. I mean, even my leisure and what I do. Like if I'm sitting down watching a movie or something like that, I make sure that I'm doing it with family. That way we feel like we're doing something together. And so everything that I do furthers me towards goals and objectives and my dream self and the betterment of myself, or it furthers the betterment of society.
Well, it's funny you say that because I really didn't want to go to New York or Vegas, but I went to New York, that event, and it was like, the core of me said, Lynn, you need to go. And I'm like, I don't want to go to New York, blah, blah, blah. I knew I couldn't walk all that. And I'm like, I'm going to
You listen to your gut.
Yeah, I was like, I'm gonna have to be in a scooter and it's gonna be obvious and blah blah blah. It was just all about my personal, pity party. And I'm like, but I need to go. I need to go. But I felt everybody in that room. I was very connected to everybody, and I'll never forget. Remember Karen Hook? Karen
Karen
Hook.
Hook. I remember
Yeah.
the name.
Yeah. Well, she was really sweet. She's like, Lynn, she goes, you you need to come out of your shell. People need to get to know you. And I'm like, no, they don't. She goes, yeah, you do. And I'm like, no, you don't. And I'm really conscientious about doing these podcasts, but I see the vision and I know that I'm going to be like all over the place. Like this is where I'm supposed to be. And yet it's out of my comfort zone, but damn it. I mean, people show up, people are enjoying this. They're getting something out of it. And I just love showing that if I didn't have people like you and people surrounded me that just realized that my ambers have been really low, and you guys spark me to realize shoot, I don't care, I'm going to be there, I'm going to show up. And it's fun. And I want to make sure that everybody knows that the little ripple effect everybody has in each other's life. So here I'm going to ask you, when you have 30 seconds, because you
So
never have
when I have 30 minutes of
30
free
minutes.
time, how do I pass the time? So I do a lot of like meditating and mindfulness type stuff. So I find that if I do have any questions that I don't necessarily have the best answer to, or just anything, that just sitting in silence, the answers typically come. I used to go to flotation tanks every couple of weeks, because in a flotation tank, it basically cuts off all of your senses, your sight, your sound, even your feel, because the water is heated to the same temperature as your skin. So you can't really tell where your skin ends and the water begins. So, I mean, I used to go there every couple of weeks, and then you would come out, if you went in with an objective, you would come out with all this clarity and all these answers. It was amazing. But, since the pandemic, I've just been doing a lot of meditating. I've got a little chair that I sit in, and I just meditate. And, whether it's 20 or 30 minutes, or, if I've got enough time, I'll put in an hour of just silence. I'll put on some headphones and put on the noise canceling headphones, and put on some frequency like 528 megahertz or whatever. But I like solitude, meditation, mindfulness, stuff like that. So that's how I spend if I've got some free time, or I'll spend it with family.
It's funny that you say that, because you have impressed me. You've traveled a lot for for speaking engagements and all this stuff, and yet you fear flying. And then I know this is coming out of left field here, but Austin, the fact that you don't care for a plane that's working properly, and the idea of even flying out of a plane, let me tell you, talk
Right.
about the epitome of facing fear in its tracks.
Yeah.
You guys are in for a treat here. Austin doesn't know I'm going to play this. I love you, Austin. This is for the sake of all humanity and facing your fears. I couldn't help that, Austin.
Too funny. That was a wild experience. So years ago, I used to be so afraid of flying that, no lie, like mid-20s, I was so afraid of flying that I would get on the plane, I would be a nervous wreck, I wouldn't sleep the day before, and as soon as it started to move, I'd put my head, had my head down, I'd be shaking, I'd be ordering alcohol, drinking until I couldn't see straight, and just like sometimes I would shed tears. I'd be sitting there, I'd be a nervous wreck, right? And there was even times that I would get on the plane and I would get off the plane before it took off, because I couldn't do it mentally. And then I had to just force myself to keep doing it. And then I read books like Psycho-Cybernetics. Advanced Psycho-Cybernetics is where I got some good tips from. And, I just kept on. And now I love flying. And the video you just showed of me jumping out of a plane. So we were in Aruba, and I had to. So I organized a promo contest for a company that I was the #1 earner of, and we had 20 people. We flew out to Aruba. I rented 2 mansions right on the beach. We got a private chef. We did all sorts of cool stuff. ATV tours around the island, VIP at the hottest club, dinner on the beach. It was amazing.
You had Ray Higdon with there. He was in the beginning of that video.
So I actually flew out Ray, and so we got him to come out, and him and we did I think like 12 hours of training in one day. That was just like nonstop, stand and deliver all day long. It was nuts. I mean, the leaders we had there, it was life changing. And one day, so I opened my mouth before we ever got out there, and I was like, yeah, we could like go skydiving or something. People were like, yeah, let's do it. So I was like, yeah, I'll go. Why not? Because so then the day comes, and we had stayed out all night, right? And then we did it in pairs. You know what I'm saying? Like, Steve and Josh, and then Angie. So me and Ray Higdon, we went up in the Mazda Miata of airplanes, which is held together by like bubble gum and bad decisions, right? Barely have enough gas to get off the ground. We go up, we get above the clouds, and they're like, okay, we're almost halfway up. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. We're almost halfway up. This thing's gonna explode any minute. And so finally they opened the door, right? This little flap. And I look out, and way down there is the clouds, like way down there. And way past the clouds is Earth, right? And they asked me to step out onto this platform, which is the size of my cell phone, right? And put my feet on that. And on 3, we're going to jump, right? And so they go 1, and then they jump, right? Because they don't want you to hold on to the plane for dear life, which is what I would have probably done. And then when you jump out, you're going over 120 miles an hour towards planet Earth, just, and it is the most intense feeling you've ever had in your life. You don't feel like you're going 120 miles an hour. And it was just the most beautiful thing. And then he, did the parachute, and I got a chance to look around, and, my heart was beating out of my chest. And then, of course, I blacked out. So that's obviously that's going to come up sooner or later in the comments, I'm sure. But the point is, I was afraid to do it, but life is all about making new experiences, facing your fears, and now I've got some incredible memories because of that.
Absolutely. Leslie was like, don't be playing that video. But I was like, well, she loves you. She's going to protect you.
I love her.
I hear you. We're all friends for life, man. I'll tell you that.
Oh, it was funny. If you can't laugh at yourself, then I will.
Oh, then you need to co-host with me a couple times. So what is your favorite time of the year? Just asking for a friend.
Yeah, I love that. So my favorite time of the year would probably have to be Christmas. I like Christmas because people are in the spirit of giving, and it's just I always like going to the mall, and you got your coat and it's packed, everyone's hot because they're walking around, and it's just everyone's all together. I like how Christmas brings people together. And I like seeing the family. I like seeing the kids get what they want. And it's just a time where if you're into thinking about other people, then it should be a really good experience. If you're thinking about, and this is so true about life, period. If you're into giving, it's a great experience. If you're just wanting and you're looking to receive, it's never enough.
You got that right. Okay, so I know you love to read like I do.
What's the most interesting thing I've read or seen this week? I'm going to steer clear of the politics and just say that there's a book called The Tao Te Ching by Lao Tzu. I know it's a mouthful, but I think everybody should
I've got that book.
I think everyone should have to get that book. So this book, I'm not super big on reading, although I will read. I like to listen, and let me find it on. Okay. So there's a version. I don't know if you can see that, but it's right there in the middle. The Tao Te Ching. It's got a couple rocks and whatnot. By Stephen, it's by Lao Tzu, read by Stephen Mitchell. That's the one that I prefer. I've listened to that probably 24 times. I've got so many notes on it, but that book was probably the personal development book that changed me the most.
Really? That's cool to know that, because I know that you are very coachable and you really have, like I said, you walk the walk and you talk the talk as far
Got
as
to.
your philosophy on that. So I really appreciate that.
Got
Okay,
to.
so how about do you have any ridiculous goals in life?
Ridiculous is all relative. But yeah, I've got two ridiculous goals, I think you could call them right now. One is the company I'm the vice president of at the moment is to take them to $1 billion a year inside of the next 4 years, and eventually to take them past $2 billion a year. I'm very confident we can do it. We've got an amazing group, and we've got everything that we need to be able to do that. So that's one. Most people would say that, $2 billion a year in sales, it's a pretty good milestone. 1 billion, 2 billion. So that's a goal that I feel really, really good about. The other one is that I want to build a contemporary style home. And I've seen a lot of really cool stuff on Instagram and online about that. And I thought, I just don't want to pay a couple $1 million for a home when someone else could, right? They could just get it. And so I came up with a way to build a neighborhood and get the house for free. So I got the builder, I got a realtor, we got 2 investors. Me and the builder are going to go in and buy 34 acres, and we're going to excavate 4 acres for a man-made lake, so we can charge just a little bit more for the waterfront property. And they're all going to be contemporary style homes, which we don't have any in Kentucky. So I noticed that, because one of my favorite pastimes is looking at homes on Zillow. Whenever there's a modern or contemporary style home, it sells like super quick, right? And they can ask whatever they want for it too. It just sells. And so I'm gonna build a whole neighborhood of that. Me and the builder, we're gonna buy the land, and then the 2 investors are going to build each one of the houses. They're gonna buy the house and build the house. So we'll make money from each sale as they will, and then it'll be a neighborhood that we built, and it'll be like my perfect little area called Cypress Lakes, because we're going to have the man-made lake and some big cypress trees going around the entire neighborhood for privacy. And we've actually already planned 3 neighborhoods we're going to build. We're just looking for the land right now.
Exciting. I got a question here from Sandra.
Good question. Any great tips on staying positive, looking to keep the chin up right now? Yeah, for sure.
Mindset, right? Mindset. It's all about mindset.
Yeah. So, I mean, some good tips on staying positive is, one, realizing the truth is that outside of this, nothing else exists. Tom Bilyeu on his show Impact Theory, great guy to follow. He talks about how his brain is basically just something that, it basically just prevents you from bumping into stuff, as you're going through life, right? Everything is all internal. There really is no external. There's even no proof of external. It's all in your mind. And that's so cliche to say, but it really is. And so you get to determine how you feel about everything. You have to condition your mind, but it all comes with accepting the truth that if your life sucks, it's your fault. It's of your design. If something happened to you, for you, around you, whatever, it's you. I would say that a really good book on the science behind this, not just the woo-woo sort of stuff that I'm talking about. The science would be Dr. Joe Dispenza's book, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. It talks about like neurophysiology and quantum physics combined to show you the science of how you can take ownership of your mind and just be in eternal bliss. And I don't think you're really looking for happiness. You think you are. You're looking more for peace. I think everyone is not so much looking for that joyful, blissful, ecstasy, orgasmic moment. They're really looking for just peace. And that's just a decision that you can make. So 2 books that I would recommend. First of all, I recommend the books. You'll have to read them and take notes and apply them, because shortcuts lead to dead ends, right? There is really no shortcut to happiness and success. And that's something you have to work on as well. You have to work on that. The peace, the happiness, you have to work on that. The 2 books I would recommend is The Tao Te Ching by Lao Tzu. And I really love how Stephen reads it. And Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Dr. Joe Dispenza. The Tao Te Ching talks about principles that will help you tremendously, while Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself gives you the science, and then it gives you exercises you can do that will bring you dramatic change, not only inside, but it will actually bring you dramatic change to your entire reality.
And also, I sometimes think that people have to go through hell, I hate to say it, hell on earth, to actually finally go run from it and find peace. I mean, either that or I'm older than you. I'm over 50. I'm gonna be 55. And now I just realized I wish I knew all that stuff back then. And, have that, Austin, yep, thank you, Austin, for being here. Lauren loves the interview.
My pleasure. Well, you were just talking about too, by the way, about people going through hell. I had a friend of mine recently that they clearly hit rock bottom, and I know they're just going through it right now. Me, I'm excited for them. I really am, because I've hit rock bottom and then broken through that bottom, and I've hit it a couple times, right, like a punching bag, and so now I'm not even fazed by a lot of the things that would just drive people out of their mind. Like my wife, she's said it several times. The things that should bother me don't. And it's just, I have a quote that I came up with a couple years ago. There's pain in the process, but there's pleasure in the payoff. And so everyone goes through the life challenges, but they're there for us to grow us into the person that we're supposed to become.
Absolutely. I mean, from losing a child at stillborn, to fires, to bankruptcies, to divorces. I mean, all these things, and I look at this, death of my brother after my mother died, which I went to New York after my brother died. So that's what was one of the things that were lingering when I went, and I knew he'd want me to go. So of course I went. But, it's those things where they're the hardest things to go through. I mean, until you lose a parent, you have no idea to associate with people. I mean, we just go through things in life that until they hit you, you don't realize the impact, and yet you've got to move forward from there. And it takes time to heal and move forward. But, I know you've had successes and you've had losses, and you've had, people treat you kind and people treat you like dirt. But, I love the fact that you know how to just continue to move on and don't allow that to waver who you are and what you want out of life. And I really appreciate that, because, I think that's why I'd never be in politics myself. I mean, I don't need everybody to know my dirt, because I'm not perfect neither, but, they don't make it fair for anybody in politics, because, you picked your booger when you were 3 years old, and that makes headline news. I
Well,
mean,
even whenever you perform to a high level in anything, you're in politics. I mean, I've been in the network marketing profession now for a decade, and it gets very political sometimes, especially when you get higher up, and you start making these millions of dollars a year or whatever, or if you're in a corporate role, there's politics involved, but it is what it is. I mean, run a tight ship, be a good human being, and hey, whatever happens, happens.
Absolutely. And that's what I love about you, Austin, is, you show that you're no different than anybody else. And I really appreciate that from you. So
thank you. I appreciate you.
Yeah. Well, you guys, we're going to be wrapping this up here soon. And I'm telling you, this guy is a documented 7-figure earner. He's taught half of the things that are out there. He's taught a part of, or, and like I said, you and Ray Higdon, I mean, you guys are parallel, but yet have your different way of teaching. And it all comes down to the same melting pot. And I really, really appreciate that, because it wasn't just talk, but I've seen you practice that. So I've been very, very grateful about that.
Well, I appreciate that. All training is just suggestion anyway. I mean, this isn't, McDonald's or Wendy's. You don't have to do it a specific way. And network marketing, different things work for different people. But the cool thing is, I have been through enough and trial and error, and, paid for trainings and done this, that, and the other. Done it enough to where I know for a fact if someone does A, B, and C, the only outcome they're going to get is D. That's one thing. After making all the mistakes that I've made, after being the #1 earner in 3 separate companies, I mean, some people can get in the top 10 in one. If you're #1 in one, that you could have been lucky. You do it 2, not luck. 3, you got your, a good understanding of how things work. So, with Ray and I, he's done well in the field as well. We know.
He's come a long way since I know you had a lot to do with that back when I first got started with him. And it is amazing to see how much he's grown, and he really has been a pillar of my success.
He's done some amazing stuff in the past few years. And he's a good guy too.
Absolutely.
I'm continuing to say that Ray is a good guy.
I made this video earlier.
It's Austin Zulauf. Best day of my life. I just want to thank you for being here. It's an honor and a pleasure.
Oh my God. Snapchat is the only social media platform I've never been on. Y'all almost make me want to get on it, but that's so cute. I appreciate you so much, Lynn. I just got to give it back to you. You're doing all the right things to not only be a leader on this platform, but a leader in personal development, and it's needed right now. So thank you so much for the show that you do. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you too. I love you very much. I want to thank everybody that has stopped by. And Austin, I don't know if you shared it on your timeline, but I'm sure you will. So make sure you share this on your page.
Yay, the show is over. You survived. Congratulations. I hope you had a great time.
Too fun. I did. I had fun with you.
Well, I just got to make it. That's the point. Everybody's got to laugh, and I'm planning to do all. I pity the fools. I mean, my guests. No, they don't have no idea. I have things that are going to happen in the future here that I'm just building up to. So I've had fun just being really super silly here. Thank you for being a sport on a little clip. Oh, thank you. I love you guys too. Yeah. It's just been really awesome. Now, you guys don't go anywhere, or Austin, don't you go anywhere. I'm going to play his little clips here because I think they're pretty awesome. You guys, thank you so much for being here. You have a good one, and follow Mr. Austin.
He comes on hard but nice. He's sincere, he is humble, but he is a powerhouse. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage.